Again, welcome back. We are at exactly the halfway point for the 7 Day Live series. And today we are continuing the conversation of how to break free from the survival mode trap and make this your best year abroad yet. And we're doing that with a pretty powerful, even if it's a little bit counterintuitive, um, key, essential, and that is rest, recharging and resetting by letting yourself stop. It's amazing how much further you can go when you let yourself stop along the way and really take the rest that we need. So, yesterday we talked about the power of small wins and celebrating them. And really, to boil that down in one way would be to celebrate the fact that you took action regardless of the outcome, that you took intentional action. And that can really shift your mindset. So you don't have to wait until everything finally miraculously goes really well one day to feel confident. But every day you can have wins because you made intentional choices and took action. So that's beautiful because it brings the control back to you. So one very intentional action that we can take, which is really a surprising secret to consistency and resilience, even though it's often overlooked and maybe even we think is counterintuitive and really counterproductive, is rest. It's not laziness, it's not giving up, it's recharging your mental and emotional batteries so you can show up consistently for what matters most. So I don't know what your life rhythms look like. I would guess in this group that there's some of us who are wired to run, and you don't even mean to, but you just keep pushing. That was me, and I still have a little bit of tendency there. But there may be some others where you're like, I naturally move at a pace that seems slower than people around me, and I give myself a hard time for that. And so whether you're running nonstop or you're like, I think I'm so much like falling behind, either way, rest is essential and rhythm is essential. So we're going to jump into that today to understand it. Many times when you are in that adjustment period overseas, you can really feel like, oh my gosh, I'm performing at such a lower productivity than I was in my home country. I just feel like I can't get anything done, and there's more to do, and it's harder to do it, and the language and the culture and bureaucracy has been coming up a lot in some of the Facebook groups where we're having some conversations around this. And yeah, the temptation can be to just push even harder, to run even faster, and to force yourself, even when you're exhausted and overwhelmed and just mentally drained. But honestly, science tells us that's the worst thing we can do. Pushing through exhaustion reduces your ability to problem solve, regulate emotions, and make good decisions, which is critical to the kind of life adjustment involved in moving overseas and building a new life there. Um, Honestly, our brains are working overtime because, when I was in my hometown and I realized that I was running out of toothpaste, I could just think through like a half a second, okay, I'm going to just swing by Walmart on my way to whatever. And I don't even have to think about it. I can be on the phone with somebody. I can be doing so many other things, and I don't have to even think about the process of how do I get there? Where do I go? How do I get there? How do I navigate public transit? Is this toothpaste? I think this is toothpaste. What's the difference between these things that are all written in another language? There's so many things that you have to think about to do any one thing when you're doing it for the first few times. And your brain doesn't have those shortcuts yet that you've relied on to let you use your thinking skills for all the things that matter to you in your life, and just do a lot of simple things on automatic. But now those things aren't simple anymore, and so they require the heavy lifting. So we need all the more rest than you can imagine. So I'm going to stop talking about rest, and we are going to, actually pause, totally pause. So you gave yourself the gift of being right here, right now. And I want to invite you to give yourself the gift a little more, just being able to still yourself. And so I'm going to walk us through a couple of just like mindfulness and kind of centering or grounding exercises so we can rest. So the first thing, though, that I'm going to do is just stop talking. And I know there could be a temptation, your videos are off, to, okay, go ahead and do that other thing and talk, like whatever. You choose what's best for you. But if you can, I'd love to gift you this moment of rest. So I'm going to stop talking for just a moment. And then as I speak, I'll give you a few directions. But I encourage you to just let everything else go and just be. Yeah, maybe take a deep breath. That's what I needed. Maybe one more. If this is not restful to you, don't do it. But if it is, maybe just give yourself a moment to see the room around you, kind of be in the room you're in. So often we're busy and running, and we're rarely able to be present where we are. Just let yourself be and see what's around you. Probably gonna see something that, I didn't do that. Oh, I forgot about that. I wish that wasn't like that. But give yourself permission to focus on, yeah, just being and seeing what is. Maybe notice the colors. How many different colors can you see? Think about your hearing for a second. What do you hear around you? I hear a machine in the other room. Maybe a car outside. Take another breath and notice if there's anything you smell. It can be very helpful to taste something if you had some tea or coffee. And then think about what you feel, your physical body. I have my legs crossed so I feel the weight of one leg on the other. Feel the bottle of water in my hand. But just let yourself feel your body. And as you attune to just what you're feeling in your body, sometimes it will sort of automatically begin to take care of itself. You may want to stretch something or just take another deep breath. It's almost automatic when you give yourself that space. But do notice anywhere there's tension, and just notice that tension. Take a deep breath. And give your body permission to relax that area. If you have difficulty releasing tense muscles, sometimes it helps to intentionally tense and then release, and then they're able to release. You can do that systematically from head to toe, and you'll find yourself so much more relaxed after. Just notice your breathing. You don't need to change it. Just notice it for a few breaths. Notice the thoughts that are running through your head. What thoughts are coming up? Why is she taking so long? I'm in a hurry. Oh, I really need to do this. I'm hungry. Just notice your thoughts. No need to change them. Just notice. What's been preoccupying your mind today? And notice your feelings. What have you been feeling today? What are you feeling now? Finally, we're going to take 1 minute of silence, and then we will come back into our conversation. You may find your mind beginning to wander. It's okay. Give yourself permission to just let those thoughts pass you by. Three, two, one. Okay. As you're ready, let's re-engage. I'd love to hear what that was like for you. How was that experience? Nice to pause and slow down. Yeah. Others, just type it in the chat. Let me know what that was like for you. And feel free to say, oh, It was so frustrating because I couldn't focus. I couldn't stop thinking all the thoughts. Oh, I love that. It's nice to listen to my voice. Yeah, I think you mean your voice, your internal voice. That's beautiful. Oh, some construction just started a couple of minutes ago. So you had something to focus on to help still your mind. Oh, I need to do this more often. Very relaxing. Love this room. Oh, wow. Memories of your late uncle. Thank you for sharing that with us. Yeah. So, how do you feel? I should have asked before we did this. I should have asked, like, how do you feel today? What's your stress level, kind of thing. But try to think back before and after. What's the difference in how you're feeling in your body and your emotions and your breath? I can tell I feel energy and calm at the same time. And that is great. That is great. Um, yeah, so rest recharges your energy, it increases clarity, reduces burnout, improves confidence. It activates your parasympathetic nervous system, which promotes relaxation, recovery, restoration, slows your heart rate, deepens your breath, reduces blood pressure and stress hormones like cortisol, improves digestion and other body repair and maintenance, which is counterbalancing that sympathetic nervous system, which drives that fight or flight, stress, survival mode. Yeah, kind of since and yeah. Feeling guilt as I know I should be giving myself permission to rest. Mm, yeah, and you can. You can today. You can tomorrow, right? Mm. You could hear the flow of the traffic. Yeah. Yeah, it's beautiful. You can get just a little bit more connected with yourself and the world around you. I know that stopping like that, actually, I don't know if you noticed this, but I'm noticing about myself the way I was communicating before we did that and the way I'm communicating now is different. I can feel a difference in my kind of energy and in my pace. Um, so it actually taking moments like that, it helps you. It also helps your relationships. So there's a great deal of research on the impact of rest and sleep. Um, really cool stuff. So um, let me say first about the impact of insufficient sleep and rest. And I guess maybe yeah, the reciprocal, right? So when you are not getting enough sleep, your amygdala becomes 60% more reactive to negative stimuli. So it takes a hard thing and it makes it 60% harder, um, making us much more prone to irritability, anxiety, and overwhelm. And if you just connect that to the experience of living overseas, adjusting cross culturally, especially in the beginning, but depending on if we're stuck, how stuck we are in survival mode, the beginning can be a long time. Um, like those overwhelming feelings can be super exaggerated by the lack of sufficient sleep and rest for the work that your brain is doing. Poor sleep makes it harder to pick up on social cues, lowering the emotional intelligence, making it difficult to regulate with emotions and connect with others. You're trying to connect with a new world. Sleep helps you do that. Chronic lack of sleep raises cortisol levels, keeping your body in a constant state of fight or flight, making it difficult to adapt to new situations and to get out of the survival mode that we've been talking about. Sleep deprivation impairs the prefrontal cortex, which handles complex thinking, decision making, and self control. So if you're like, why can't I get anything done? Why do every day I intend to do this, but I don't? Really, the secret to getting it done might be to sleep a little longer first. Um, Research has shown that when you have been without sleep for even as little as 19 hours, our cognitive abilities can decline as much as if we were legally drunk. We need sleep to function, to show up. And I really like, um, I really like this sentence. You can't build a thriving life on an exhausted mind. Resilience, which is that ability to adapt, bounce back, and thrive, even in uncertainty and in adversity, is directly tied to how well you rest and recharge. Some studies talk about this as well. I don't think I have a slide for that, but yes, well rested people regulate stress and negative emotions better and are more adaptable. They make better decisions and handle challenges with clarity. Um, they are 3 times more likely to describe themselves as fulfilled and content. Um, they have more optimism. People with better sleep habits had higher resilience scores and a greater ability to reframe negative experiences. So, what if we see rest rather than a break from productivity, actually as a key essential building block to productivity? Ah, great question, Emma, on the research related to how long it takes to reverse the negative effects of insufficient sleep. That is a great question. I'm going to look into that and hopefully be able to give an answer tomorrow, or maybe I'll post it in the group. But I will definitely take a look to see what's the research out there. I know there's an ad on my phone that says you can do it really, really fast if you use their app. So maybe I should post that too. I'm not sure if an ad is a reliable source of information. I'll look into that. Rest is not a luxury. It is a tool that literally rewires the brain. Oh, I don't think I read that to you. Um, Poor rest affects neuroplasticity, making it harder to retain new knowledge, language, culture, and problem solving strategies. So, literally, your brain can be rewired and is rewired as you have sufficient rest. It's just incredible. So we need that for resilience, problem solving, and confidence. So if you've been feeling frustrated, stuck, overwhelmed, or like on edge, irritable since moving abroad, your brain might just be in survival mode because it hasn't had enough recovery time to correlate to the amount of exertion that your brain is having to put in to get through each day and all the things that you have to figure out. And right here, there is a temptation. Have you ever done this where you say, I shouldn't be this tired. I shouldn't need this much sleep. I slept this many hours. I should be fine. That word should is really an enemy. It really is an enemy, because it doesn't really matter if you should be tired, if you are tired. And there's a book, great book, The Body Keeps the Score, that talks about some of these things. And I think there may even be a book by this other title, but I'm not sure. I can't remember right now. Where is that coming from? But the body doesn't lie. You know, we can choose to think this and not think that, and we can choose to, push down emotions, which will show up in the body when we do that. But the body is not going to pretend everything's fine when it's not. That's people can have different experiences with this for sure. There can be different causes. But sometimes even a panic attack is the body saying, hey, you've not been paying attention to something really big, that may not be the only cause, but it can be one of them. Yeah, somebody's commenting that women need more sleep than men also. Yes, we need some rest. And actually, with one client, we were kind of talking about that. Why am I so tired all the time? And like, I feel like I can't get anything done. And I'm just, I've been in this country for 4 months, and I feel like I'm just, you know, lost in the ocean kind of thing. And we made a list of everything that she was doing. And that plus just the basic adjustment, I mean, it was incredible. She realized that she was doing, more than a 40-hour work week, um, of things, outside of a job. And when she realized, I was like, oh, so I should be this tired. And that helped her to give herself permission, to get the rest that she needs. Something fascinating is that neuroscience is now proving what, several ancient cultures have known for thousands of years. Intentional rest is not just good for you, it is key to a long, fulfilling life. Um, Studies on Sabbath keeping cultures show that people who take a weekly rest day, experience lower stress, increased life satisfaction, and stronger emotional resilience. And I need to look into this more, but there are some communities that are like known for having some of the longest lifespans in the world, and they have a ritualized, a weekly rest practice kind of built in to their culture. Longer lifespan, better mental health, boosting problem solving and creativity, means that you can navigate life overseas all the more. So I'll just tell a little bit of my story. I want to keep this brief, but when I came to Korea 11 years ago, almost, it's like 2 weeks from now is my anniversary. But when I came, I recognized that my productivity was only about 30%. Like my capacity, my ability to go do things. I really felt like I only had the energy and capacity to do 30% of what I had done for years before moving overseas. And, I literally sometimes couldn't do more, so I have to take a nap, or I just, whatever. But what I was pushing myself to is, okay, you've got to get back to 100%. And I was trying so hard to do that. And by 3 years in, I was working 80-hour work weeks by my own choice, default choice. Like I just kept going. And I can remember one period of time where I did not take a day off for 6 months. I do not recommend that. And you can only imagine, it impacted my mental health. It impacted my life. And so I started to take a like Sabbath, like, okay, one day per week, I'm going to absolutely for sure do not do work or anything that is like out of obligation, any shoulds. I'm not going to do any shoulds. I'm going to do what I feel like my body needs. I'm going to do what I want to do, what I desire to do. And at first, I just slept. Like I would sleep like that whole day. And then I got to a point where I just kind of like, I would watch movies that whole day. But as I built that practice of stopping, because we're aware that the whole world does not depend upon us, and every person that we know and everything and going okay is not 100% dependent on us. I think we can agree that's probably true. But sometimes we live like, if I don't do everything right now, the world's going to fall apart, or my world's going to fall apart, or they're not going to love me, or so many things that we kind of, intuitively feel and live out of without even recognizing, why am I pushing myself so hard? And that's a great question to ask. Ooh, I don't know if you want to answer that question, but I would love, is there anyone who knows the answer? Why? Why are you pushing yourself so hard? it's really good for us to reflect. And in that kind of, I read a book that had some, yeah, an introduction to Sabbath practices. And so if you're thinking about like, what does Sabbath even mean? Um, some of the things that were really valued in the Jewish culture during this one day of rest is so absolutely no work, and they even have a practice of before the day before, actually very intentionally preparing things so that this next day they don't have to do anything because it's already done. So it's like, cook on this day so that the next day you have the food already ready to eat, that kind of thing. So there's intentionally stopping work. There is delight, doing something that brings you joy, doing something you desire, that you want. There's community, connecting where that connection is life-giving. I will say I am quite introverted, actually. I need that alone time to recharge, and in living overseas, all the more. And so typically on my rest day, I do not leave my apartment. And if I have people at home, I might not leave my room very much, because I want to have that rest time. But ideally, and this is what's happened for me, as I built in that practice of weekly just taking time to rest. And I know for some of us, the idea of a whole day every week may not be on the table. And I know for parents, the job of parenting does not end. But you can make a shift in, okay, on this day, yeah, we're going to keep everyone alive, but it's okay for us to leave the dishes in the sink, or the laundry can wait another day. And learning to let the world wait while you rest, for me, it did. It rewired my thinking, and I was able to slow my pace the rest of the week almost automatically. And slowing my pace actually made me more free to be the person that I want to be, and to do and to choose the things that I want to do, rather than just chasing urgency and putting out fires and continuing to run. Wow, I'm seeing some really great answers, responses here. Yeah, yes, right. This is beautiful. This is beautiful. I'm going to come back and read a bit more. But okay, I see some self-care. I see, yeah, redefining the definition of rest to fit the lifestyle of between the culture at home and the new culture that you're in. And that can be a thing. Sometimes I give myself permission to be on low battery mode. And it's a day that I need to rest, but for some reason I have to show up, and giving myself permission to show up on low battery mode and not have to push myself further than what I really have. And yeah, there's just a lot of ways that you can do that. And as you saw, even in our 10-15 minutes that we just paused together, you can, in the middle of any day, you can excuse yourself and find a closet or a bathroom and have that time to kind of reset. 20-minute naps have proven to be really powerful. Each person's body can be different, but setting an alarm for 20 minutes is just enough to let your brain like totally come to a stop, but not go into deep sleep where you feel groggy and terrible afterwards. So as I started to institute a ritual, a rhythm of rest, it changed the way I approach the rest of my life too. So just want to encourage you to think about, yeah, take a moment now to reflect on your lifestyle, and rate your current rhythm of rest from 1 to 10, with 10 being your ideal well-rested lifestyle. So rhythms of rest, rest and everything else, rest and everything else, not just that run with no end in sight. How much of a rhythm do you have right now? 10 would be like, wow, I've got a rhythm that's really working and I'm living well rested throughout my life because I have the rest that I need to do the things that I do. And I come back and forth, back and forth. Um, okay, yeah. Yeah, Denise, you shared many of your rhythms with us yesterday, and that's awesome. At 10, wow, able to wake up without an alarm. So your body has learned that rhythm. You've given it that space in those containers. Yeah, okay, I see a 3, I see a 4. I will confess, um, it was recommended to me to do a 7-day live series, and I really played around a lot trying to figure out because I do take 1 in 7 days to just fully rest. And so I was like, a 7-day series, what about? And now that I think about it, now that I spent, some time preparing for this conversation today, I'm like, we should have done a 6-day series so that I could honor so that I could honor this. But I can assure you I will be resting on day 8. And actually one of these days, this was the main thing I did that day and gave myself permission to rest the rest of the day. And so again, even with this, it doesn't have to be perfection. It's figuring out for your lifestyle, for your context, what does it look like to have a rhythm of rest? I see a 7. Yeah. So, actually, here's my challenge to you. Give your brain and body permission to rest. And I know it's different times. Some of you, it's already just about bedtime. Some of you, I'm starting a day. I encourage you, I dare you, give yourself permission to rest today, even if it is just for, 5 minutes. But in terms of kind of where we're headed, we've been talking about different steps. We've had different like homework. What I want to invite you to do is think about what makes you feel rested and recharged. Actually, let's share that. Let's do that reflection right here together. What makes you feel rested and recharged? Yeah, Denise is sharing, I think if I'm understanding right, that you used to work 7 days a week without a day off, and then you realized that financially, it's turned out to be the same when you do give yourself that day off. You do give yourself that margin, and it turns out not to cost anything on the finance. Yeah, okay, things that give rest. Music, walks beside water, yes, a spa day. Yeah, it's good to know what drains you and what recharges you so that you can be intentional. And there are some things that drain us that we need to do, we want to do even, but we've got to have that rhythm to recharge. My phone will not survive if I don't recharge it, and the truth is, we're like that as well. How can you make rest a regular part of your routine? That's the reflection question. Does it look like a day off a week? Does it look like a 3-hour block once a week? Does it look like 1 hour most days? Does it look like 20 minutes? How can you make rest a regular part of your routine? So the action step is to schedule some time for rest this week. I encourage you, if you can't do a full day, give yourself at least 1 hour that during that hour, I don't have to do anything. And whether you sleep through the hour or you stare at a wall or you go for a walk, recharge. Yeah. Okay. So take some time to schedule rest for this week, and then, and if possible, maybe even to consider like 2 or 3 weeks trying out some kind of rhythm, and then share that with us in the Culture Shock Hub community, either on Facebook or Instagram, so that we can be encouraged by the different ideas that each other has. So that is the homework. I do want to just mention to you Rest is just one of the foundational steps that we dive into in the culture shock solution, which I've just mentioned barely. That is a 3-month online coaching program that Liz and I have developed that helps you to build sustainable habits that make thriving abroad not just possible, but truly inevitable because you're taking the steps that you need. And I know somebody said that like all of these small steps, it just sounds overwhelming to try to do that. And so the beauty of the program is that we've developed lessons and worksheets with just very clear, actionable steps that you can take. That as you do, it's going to build your confidence. It's going to give you the routines and habits that you need to have rhythms of rest. So you'll learn how to do that, how to dig deeper into connection and develop cultural fluency and a global mindset, which will help you to thrive even when it feels overwhelming. And there's a lot of personalized support as well with coaching. And so actually, you guys are showing up for yourself and for this community. And so what I do want to offer, and I'll say more about this maybe at the end of the week or something, but I do want to offer, if the culture shock solution, it sounds like something that might be a right fit for you, for those who are participating in the lives, I want to make it available at a significant discount, like 30% lower price. And also part of the program is a few one-on-one sessions with me to really personalize and set your direction for where you want to be. And there's just a lot of freedom in that to, envision, whether it's career or it's relationship or it's just practical time management. How do I build a routine? Whatever it is that you want to use that for. But for those of you who are connecting through live, I also want to give a bonus one-to-one coaching session with me to help you really customize your plan to make this your best year yet. So I'm going to make that available throughout the challenge. So let me know if that's something that you're interested in. But tomorrow, day 5, we're going to talk about the value of connection and how to reconnect and strengthen your lifelines. So I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. And surprise, we are finishing 10 minutes early, and that is actually intentional because I want to give you 10 minutes, and I dare you to use that 10 minutes either to just rest or to schedule, to set up yourself for a restful rhythm over the next week or so. So take your 10 minutes, rest, and I will see you right back here tomorrow. If you have any questions, feel free to stay around or shoot me an email, and I'll be looking for your posts and hear your feedback, and I will see you tomorrow. Thank you. Jinhei, I'm so glad you were able to join. I'm going to turn off the recording.